All right, good morning and thank you so much for always staying with us. Now, today we'll dive into the heart of Edo State political landscape, anticipating the 2024 gubernatorial election. Now, our focus is going to be on the role of stakeholders navigating the complex issues of succession and the ambitions steering within the incumbent deputy governor's realm. And of course, you know that recently the deputy governor has been on the front line where he has actually alleged that he's been victimized for having an ambition. But today we are going to be having some stakeholders join us, look at the road to Edo 2024 governorship election. What are the political parties bringing on board? Joining us from the City of Power, he's a federal lawmaker representing Orionwo and Hundel Federal Constituency. And he's the Vice Chairman, Poverty Alleviation. He's in person of Dr. Chief Billy Osaro. Thank you so much for joining us, Honorable.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, right here in the studio, we have with us a legal practitioner, Emmanuel Obakpolo, Esquire. He's also here with us, and we're expecting to have with us Comrade Emmanuel Ogbedi, the Noxing president here in Benin City. He'll be joining us in a moment. But let's quickly come to you, Emmanuel Obakpolo. Looking at the governorship election next year, what are your concerns? Let's take a leaf from the just concluded off-cycle election in Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa states. If you put these three together and the outcome and the results, what are your expectations in 2024 for Edo State?
Well, going by what we saw in the just concluded off-cycle elections in the three states of Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa, I think with that, I have a trailer load of worries. And I will not hesitate to vent my worries when given the opportunity. Because every one of us want to see a Nigeria that works. Every one of us want to see things turn better for Nigerians, are inclusive. And here we are, the Independent National Electoral Commission, since its inception, 1999, that it conducted the first democratic election in this epoch from 1999. There have been a lot of challenges, a lot of worries, and that led to the amendments on the Electoral Act to see how we can get things work for us. And be it as it may, there appear to be that the 2022 Electoral Act will do the magic, particularly with the introduction of beavers by INEC. And but here we are. We saw the drama that played out on the 25th of February 2023 in the presidential elections and the National Assembly, and also the one that took place on the 18th of March 2023. And we thought that the off-cycle election would be a lesson wherein INEC would have used the previous elections, 25th of February and that of 18th of March, as a case study to see whether or not there could be an improvement. But to our dismay, we now saw a more worsened situation wherein there are an outburst, cries all over, where we saw result sheets already prepared, and we saw different catalog of crises here and there, and that keeps us worried. So the Edo State elections come 2024, I don't think there will be any difference.
Okay, let's quickly get to Abuja now, where Honorable Dr. Billy Osaro is standing by to join us. Honorable, what challenges do you foresee in the upcoming gubernatorial election in the state, looking at your position as a federal lawmaker, and of course, you are a stakeholder in the state?
Thank you very much, Uncle and my brother. We forward to an election that will be fiercely contested. At this state, what we have peculiar to us at this moment is we have a third force. We have an election that will be contested between three parties, and namely APC, PDP, and Labour. And again, when I said the third force, out of 12 national lawmakers, federal lawmakers we have right now, we actually have APC having 8, and we have Labour having 3, and PDP is 1. So again, you should understand now that Labour in Edo State is not a party you can push over anymore because of their presence, you know, in politics. So this is something that is kind of a first, you know, in Edo State politics right now when it comes to governorship election. So I think every party is going to be ready. And some of the challenges we had before now, those challenges will still be there. But it's just how to make sure those challenges are taken care of, so that at the end of the day, it does not reduce the quality, you know, of elections that we have, you know, in our state and Nigeria, you know, at large. So, for example, we're going to be looking at issues of pre-election matters. You know, those things will always be there, because immediately after before the primaries, you already have aspirants, you know, jostling, you know, to get the ticket of their parties. And during the primaries, we know the way things usually go. Everybody, there will always be a winner and there will be a loser, or rather losers. Politics, we need to, you know, start doing better when it comes to issue of security before, during, and even after the elections. You know, I always tell people, youths are better than people you want to make political talks. We turn them into political talks. You know, a lot of arms are given to these youths, you know, just for the selfish interest of some few politicians. And after the elections, these youths are not being taken care of, and those arms are still with them. And again, what do you have? You're going to have crisis, you know, in the land. So those are challenges, you know, we want to start taking care of, not just at the state level, even at the federal level, where we're going to start to, you know, amend certain bills, you know, that will address this. You know, so those are areas, you know, we'll be looking at as federal lawmakers to see that, because this thing cuts across states, and of election cycle usually really tougher.
Okay.
Other mercenaries are being brought in from other states to come participate in those elections.
Okay.
So that's why the elections in Edo State next year is going to be something, you know, that will be really, really keenly fought, and both the state and federal government will have to sit down to make sure the right things are done.
All right. We will get back to you in a moment, Honorable Osaro. Let's return back to the studio. How crucial are the roles of stakeholders in the election?
The roles of the stakeholders in the election, I think, starts just now. And it is as important as the election itself. But unfortunately, in a kind of, in this setting, you see a situation where the politicians, those in power, hijack everything, and they see themselves as demigod. They see themselves as the persons that dictate for others to take and follow. So in situations like that, even the political parties, you see a situation where one man is the arrowhead, and the man is the one that dictates the show. The man steals the show and dances the show, and every other person that is in that party own is to applaud that individual. So in that kind of situation, do we now really say there are stakeholders? So I do not think so. However, some of us will come here, get an opportunity for a platform like this to ventilate what we think need to be the process, the modus operandi of our elections should go. But in situations like this, at the end of the day, we discover that we are just mere talkers. Those who have hijacked the situations begin to do the dictation. So until we begin to see ourselves as equal, just as we have the rule of law that provide for equality before the law, and a situation where we have due process of law being allowed to manifest. But in this situation, the rule of law is not allowed to manifest, because some persons think that everything should be within their whims and caprices. And in such situation, we find ourselves where we are today. So I think that what the stakeholders need do just now is to see how first it must begin with the orientation to the voters. We used to have National Orientation Agency. Permit me to use that word, used to have, because before now we see a situation where the National Orientation Agency go to begin to give people orientation on situations like this, sensitization. But today we don't see it. But billions of naira is being given to that ministry or department, and all you know, you don't hear any other thing, but you just hear that the agency exists just in the face of one individual, particularly the Director General as it stands. So until that is done, then two, the electorates, which is now the voters themselves, how do they comport themselves? Me as a voter, do I take time to understand the nitty-gritty of elections? Do I take time to understand that I don't need my franchise to be disallowed, that my franchise, I should exercise my franchise as a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria or an indigene that is resident in Edo State? So until that, then the political parties, what orientation do they have? Today we hear of manifesto. One man will just sit down in his bedroom and draft manifesto for the party and to take it hook, line, and sinker. The man does the dictation. So in that situation, the party itself has their own challenges, the political parties. So until we begin to learn how to say, things should be done properly. Political party, political sensitization, political culture. What type of political culture do we have just now? We heard recently where a former president of this country did say that the Western democracy is not working in Africa, particularly in Nigeria. And I think I agree absolutely with him. But it did start with him. When he was there as the president, what did he do? How did he go about it? We had a situation where they begin to talk about third term, even when the constitution does not provide for such. So all of this put together, you discover that in one way or the other, we are all guilty. And that is why when we see opportunity like this, we need to ventilate what we think should be the process.
Honorable Osawaro, if you're still there, let's quickly return back to you. In your opening statement, you actually made mention of having a thought first, the Labour Party. We actually saw what they did during the presidential election in the state. We saw a fantastic outing for them in the governorship election. But to an extent, do you think it's going to be a kind of disadvantage for other political parties? Looking at the APC at the central, some stakeholders are saying the APC at the federal level is still battling to gain widespread acceptance from Nigerians. And bringing it back to the state, at the state level, there seems to be a kind of discord in the PDP. We have the legacy PDP, we have the camp of the governor, and just now the deputy governor throwing his weight into the race. That kind of looked like another distraction for the PDP in the states. Though you are not from the PDP, you are not of the PDP, you are in the ruling APC. But at the federal level, there seems to be a kind of concern from some stakeholders that the APC at the federal level, they are still battling for acceptance. Won't that affect these two major parties and give other political parties opportunities to gain acceptance in the state during the election?
Without sounding modest, as we speak right now, if any election were to be held at this state right now, I can assure you that APC will win that election. Coming down to the state level, I actually started, by letting you know, yes, I actually started by letting that we have about 9 in the House of Reps. Out of the 3 in the Senate.
Well, we can't really hear you at this moment. I don't know if you can hear us, but we're really having connection issue this morning. We'll try to return back to you, Honorable Sawaru, if you can hear us. We'll get back to you in a moment. Let's quickly return back to the studio. Now, what are your concerns? Looking at these 3 political parties, well, we have more than 3. NNPP is there. We have the SDP. We have the YPP. But looking at, like the question I asked the federal lawmaker, at the federal level, the APC to an extent, some stakeholders are saying they are yet to gain wide acceptance. At the state level, the PDP is having so many internal crises. Honorable Sawaru, we actually lost connection with you earlier. I will come back to you in a moment. We can hear you, but we'll return back to you in a moment. Just a second, please. We'll get back to you. So quickly, I would like you to react to this. What says you? Do you see a kind of problem for the APC and the PDP in the state?
Yes, I see a challenge put up by, to be put up rather by the Labour Party. Because if you look at the situation just now, Nigerians are dead tired of the People's Democratic Party. Nigerians are dead tired of the All Progressive Congress. Nigeria wants something different. And going by, let's use the off-cycle election as a litmus test. You would agree with me that the election may not go the way Nigerians want it to go.
APC won in Imo State. APC took Kogi State.
APC won in Imo State and Kogi State. How? So that
as
is
declared by INEC.
No, yes, I agree with you absolutely. As declared by INEC,
they won the election,
but not as considered and voted for by the people.
Well, that's your opinion.
If you go by the provision of Section 14, subsection 2A, I've said it in different fora. It said that that sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria. That is the extant constitution just now. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria. And where do the people of Nigeria exercise their sovereignty? It's through the electoral process. The people donate their power to those they think should govern them. But here we are, some persons magically hijack everything.
So are you saying APC and PDP in the state, they should put their house in order, as it's going to be a tough one for them?
It is going to be a terrible tough one for them. They should put their house in order. Well, but I see a situation where what transpired in Imo and Kogi happened again.
However, the Honorable has said that APC is going to take the lead. But let's see how that pans out. It's not in our period to actually determine that. It's in the hands of the electorate. We'll come back after this short break. We'll return back with a discussion. Just stay with us.
TMI, every opinion counts.
Viewers, it's always a delight to know that you're still there with us. It's your ultimate news and current affairs program on television, TMI, the very last one for the month of November, as today happens to be the last day in the month of November this year, 2023. In a few hours' time, like I told you, we'll be jumping into December. But however, as we move towards the election next year in the state, it's going to be a heated one, no doubt. As the intrigue begins to unfold, we are looking at the role of stakeholders ahead of the gubernatorial election in the state come 2024. We still have Honorable Dr. Billy Osawara, a federal lawmaker, still standing by, joining us virtually. Emmanuel Obakpolo Esquire, still here with us. But while we went on that short break, we had the privilege of having with us in the studio the president of Noxin, live here with us, Comrade Emmanuel Ogbede. Thank you so much for coming, Comrade Ogbede.
Thank you very much, DP1. Good morning, viewers.
Okay, let's go now to Honorable Billy Osawara. We were actually trying to establish connection with you before we lost the audio there. Returning back to you, I was actually asking, looking at the serious fallout in the PDP in the state, there have been so many concerns for the PDP. They have the legacy PDP, they have the group of the governor. We are not going to forget about Dan Obi, who is also a major player in the PDP in the state, with the current ambition of the deputy governor that is actually bringing a serious crack in the PDP of the state. Now, bringing it now to the APC at the national level, some stakeholders are of the opinion that APC is still battling for national or widespread acceptance. Don't you think this will give a green light for other political parties to make the election very difficult for these two major parties? Dr. Osawara.
I think we're going to have to take this state by state. And I agree with you that for those people talking about general acceptability of APC, I will beg to differ because with those three states of Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa, APC took two, out of the three, and PDP actually took Bayelsa. So I really don't understand what people mean by general acceptability. General acceptability, we just had an election this very year, 2023, and APC got the presidency. So we had other parties there, that took part in the elections. So what do they really mean by general acceptability? Then coming back onto Edo State, I explained before that yes, it's very obvious looking at those three parties, you know, the three major parties, it's very obvious that PDP is not actually ready for this election because instead of putting their acts together, we still see a lot of problems coming up by the day. So I think this election is going to be primarily between APC and Labour. You know, like I said before, we are not taking anything for granted as a party in the state. And we are very confident, too, when you talk about acceptability of APC as a party in Edo State. Just looking at the elections that brought us on board, you can agree with me, out of 12 federal lawmakers we have right now, and APC, 3 is Labour, and 1 is PDP. And that is the election I will really use. I want you to use as the benchmark. Not even coming to our own of assembly elections, because we all saw what happened, and that led to a lot of litigation. So that elections of the 25th of February, that would actually tell you the party that was really ready. Yes, Labour, maybe a lot of us, we didn't see Labour coming the way they came. But again, I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be business as usual anymore. You know, there is one thing, you know, for somebody to be caught red-handed, you know, or maybe come through the back, you know, to get you in a battle. But again, it's another thing when you really get ready, you know, for that battle. Now we know that this third force is not a party, Labour is not a party to, you know, taking for granted anymore. We are ready as a party, as APC. But for PDP, again, we are not taking them for granted, but I know for sure, if this trend continues in PDP, I can assure you that PDP will not be ready for this election. The election is going to be killing fought between APC and Labour.
A Labour Party.
And like I said before, APC in Edo State is waxing stronger.
Okay.
All the loopholes we had during the last elections are being taken care of as we speak. So I'm the APC stock. People following, you know, the Edo State politics as we speak right now, you will agree with me that the 3 senatorial districts, APC is waxing stronger.
Okay.
And like I said before, nothing is going to be taken for granted. Thank you.
All right. We'll get back to you in a moment. Now, Comrade Ogbedi, you are the president of Network of Society of Network Civil Society of Nigeria.
Yes.
Okay, now, what are you doing to ensure that we have a violence-free election? That's one. Then secondly, some people are of the opinion that CSO are some of the problems we have as far as election is concerned. Some civil societies, what they do, they pitch tents with political parties, thereby distracting people as far as election is concerned. So let's quickly answer these 2 questions in one.
Well, let me take that as maybe a mere rumor or a beer parlor fallacy.
No. There are allegations that civil society members hide under the guise of being civil society members, but they are actually political party agents.
Excuse me, civil society organization cannot be responsible for a violent, free, fair, and credible election.
But they have a role to play.
But they have a role to play? They are responsible in ensuring a violent, free, fair, and credible election.
We are saying the same. Aren't we saying the same thing?
Just to go straight to what you have asked. First of all, we must agree with ourselves. Any individual that will shy away from the truth that the last presidential election was a sham, whether as an elected official or a party man, is just being economical with the truth.
Okay.
What we had in the last general election was more of a selection than an election, and no individual, no Nigerian should be proud of that election, whether as a lawmaker, whether as an executive member, elected as president or elected as governor. We knew a lot of shambolic practices and a lot of electoral violations that happened in that elections. And the off-cycle elections that also happened, by all standard, we saw all of the violence, we saw all of the malpractices, We saw all of the stuff that happened at the Imo election, the Kogi election, and what have you. It's not what anybody should be proud of. That is one truth we must tell ourselves. Okay. Even if you were a benefactor or you won in that election, it doesn't mean you should not muster the courage to say that election was not it was not the best that Nigeria could have. Having said that, Edo State election over the years has been a litmus test and an election that sets the standard of what election should be. And as stakeholder and as civil society, we must be ready to engage the process. Election is not just about the result, it's a process. There is pre, during and after election engagement. Okay. And having said that, we must be able to engage the key and relevant stakeholders and institutions that are saddled with this responsibility. Number one, the INEC. If the umpire, who is supposed to be neutral in the game, who is supposed to be neutral in the process, is found to be taking side with any political party A, B, C, then you already have a big problem in your hand. That is when you have people losing interest, losing confidence in the electoral process itself. And what you have, you see the political actors, the political gladiator taking advantage, either by coercing that institution, the INEC, or taking advantage by way of engaging political talks for violence and all of that. Then number two, the police, the security agency. The security agency must prove to Nigerians that they are serving the people and not the ruling political party. You know, when you get to election like this, you begin to hear some politicians saying federal mind, political mind, money bags, because why in democratic settings it is expected that every sane politician will back on their ability to engage the people on their policies and programs, engage the people as to what they will do and what they can deliver, lobby them to buy into their vision. Many will trust in their godfather in Abuja to influence security, to influence INEC, to influence their party. Okay. So at this point in time, we must, our eyes must be on the ball. Every Edo State citizen must put their hands on the deck. Okay. First of all, for mobilization, for sensitization of voters, because all of these things have their ways, because our people are electorally, or I would say our people are not sensitized enough to know the power that belongs to them. Okay. So they just come to tell you that, oh, this is what we want and this is how we want it to be, and it is party A we need. Okay. In 2024 election, it's not going to be a bad party. Okay. Because in every there is no good political party in Nigeria. Okay. See, I will put that on record, sir. There is no good political party in Nigeria. In every political party, we have the good, we have the bad, and we have the ugly. Okay. So in Edo State 2024, we are going to be engaging the capacity, the character, and the competence of an individual that is going to be vying for a position. And Edo people will queue behind them, not on the basis of their political party, not on the basis of the money they can throw around, but on the basis of their character and what they can deliver to Edo people.
We quickly come now to Emmanuel Obakpolo. Now, as a legal practitioner, now shed light on the legal framework for political parties as far as the election is concerned.
Quickly, let me quickly respond to Comrade Obidi.
You're going to make it short, yes, because we are going to Honorable Bill in a moment. I want to let know that, despite with what he has said, that Edolites would want to look at the individuals in terms of
capacity. But I want to tell you that is bound to fail, in the sense that the political parties, who do they elect? Who do they select? Who do they nominate?
So it starts from the political parties?
From the political parties. Okay. Because it is who they present to the people that the people will then do it. So the capacity aspect of it failed already with the political party. Now, when you talk about the legal framework, already the legal framework with regards to election is there. We have the Constitution. Okay. We have the Electoral Acts. We have the INEC regulations and guidelines. But I am surprised that just now we are made to understand that INEC regulation and guidelines is no law. The Electoral Act and other laws are there. So the legal framework is already there. And to my mind, I think we have a perfect one. Okay. But just now, the germane question is, does INEC, the purported unbiased umpire, obey the rules of the law? 2, the politicians, are they ready to take the law hook, line, and sinker and swallow it as a bitter pill? 3, the political parties, do they also obey the rules of the law? Then now to the electorate, who are helpless in this situation. Because in Nigeria, deliberately, the politicians have impoverished the people. Okay. And the people have no choice but to look for the crumbs that fall from the table of the politicians. Okay. And that is why you see, when you comb all this together, you discover that there is no how we are going to have a free, fair, and credible elections in Nigeria. Okay, let's quickly get to Honorable Billy Osawaro quickly. Now, Honorable Billy, as a federal lawmaker, what legislative impact can be expected in the build-up to the election?
Looking at legislative impact at this moment, yes, I heard my other brother, I think before his line went off, I couldn't hear him, the civil society brother there. Yes, it's true. It's a learning process for the country. One is saying, you know, Nigerian electoral process is perfect right now. As it affects A, that is how it affects B. And it affects it cuts across political parties. So our own is to see that processes, according to you, you know, are being, you know, are taken care of. So that some few years from now, this will become a thing of the past. We all pray for good elections, credible elections. But again, understand that it's politics. Whichever way it comes, stakeholder, every participant wants to make sure they emerge, you know, victorious at the end of the day. So having said that, when you are already in that office, like I am right now, is also a concern for me to make sure that our elections are credible. So looking at some of those issues right now, how do we, the Electoral Act? Because that is where it starts from. You know, how do we amend? Because if that is an issue that we have, it must be taken care of, you know, and it starts from the National Assembly. So those are some of the things some of us are already working on to make sure these things don't just continue. You know, we want to, you know, be better at what we do. If it's good right now, we have to be better. If we say it's bad, we have to be good. So that is the process, you know, some of us are taking. And how does this work? You know, people like the civil society brother putting forward a petition. And know me, you know that laying petitions, you know, on the floor of the House has never been a problem for me. It does not matter who it comes from. You know, as long as, you know, you are bringing petition. I'm a federal lawmaker. I've actually taken I will make the country grow. I will table that petition. So, as federal lawmakers, to table petitions on the floor of the House that will be referred, you know, to the Committee on Public Petition, which I'm also a member. And again, we do move motions. We move motions in this regard to see that whatever, you know, laws we have on the books right now, whether at the state level or federal level or even local government level, that is not working well for the country, to move motions on those issues. And those motions are usually referred to committees, you know, maybe our committee on legislative agenda, or committee on electoral matters, or committee on whatever that motion refers to. Okay. Then again, finally we have bills. You know, bills. When we push bills like that, of course, there's always a bill where you want to repeal the bill that is on ground right now or that's on the book right now, or you want to amend those bills. So those are things we should be working on, and some of us are already working on. Like my friend said, we have elections, off-cycle elections, like Edo State election coming up next year, Ondo State elections coming up next year.
Yeah.
And we are already working on some things to see that we can amend some of those things that we know don't give us good name as a country, so that by the time we are getting into the Edo State elections and Ondo State elections, maybe those bills would have been, assented to by the president and they become law. Okay. So this is how we continue to push from our own end as lawmakers.
All right.
So again, we'll continue to do all these things. Thank you.
Okay, now quickly, how can stakeholders ensure that we have a smooth transition in the states?
Well, first of all, I will wrestle with the temptation.
Okay.
To believe anybody that political party in any way or in any dimension is the solution of Nigeria's problem or the state problem. Take it anywhere. There is never a time where political party have solved the problem. Somebody, and any political party who plays games with the people by not bringing out a credible candidate, that is the beginning of their doom. That is where we start. But let's take, for example, there are some lawmakers, even from the Labour Party, at the House of Representatives, in Oredo constituency. Since he emerged there and he got there, what has he done? How many bills has he pushed? How many motions has he moved at the floor of the House? They have gone into the green legislative chamber, and they have mixed with the crowd, knowing nothing to do.
Are you saying they are lost now?
They are lost now because there is no capacity. There is no foresight. But they got there on the wings of the people, because the people were just at the time tired, and a movement came from the third force and registered with a particular political party. So that party is not the Messiah. If these persons have the charisma, have the ability to turn things around, whichever party they find themselves in the floor, they would have been making changes by now. Now, how will the stakeholder influence this? You see, we must begin to mobilize ourselves.
Okay.
Irrespective of the tribe you belong, irrespective of the political party you belong, irrespective of the ethnic nationality or ethnic circle you belong at the state level. Because what politicians divide us with many times is this party. It does not belong to your party, don't support it. Okay. It's not a Christian, don't support him. It's not from Esako, don't support him. It's not from Edo. We have jettisoned capacity. So, stakeholders now must begin to look beyond all of these various factors and begin to look at the individual, what they can bring to the table, what amount of transformation idea, and how much they can think out of the box. So, the civil society is going to stand on the front row in, first of all, bringing a level playing ground for all these individuals, because we are allowing the political parties now to make their mistakes. Let them bring Godfather's son and God's son father and father God's son. Let them bring them, let them throw them up.
It won't work.
When we go to any political party that knows nobody, who have brought out a sound and a credible candidate and mobilize and queue behind them. Okay. So we will give them a level playing ground, let them throw up their candidates. This candidate will be brought to the platform. Will be taken through the mills. We will know them. We will engage them on their policies program, what they have done, their antecedents, their capacity, what they can deliver. Not just what they will do for Edo State, but how they will do them. Okay. Because many a times we have lost the main thing. Politicians tell us what they want to do. We want to do this. We want to do this. But not many a times we ask them how you will do this thing and when. At what time in your administration you do this? Don't employ 40,000 workers at the eve of your exiting office.
Okay.
And you are leaving body for the ones that are coming.
Okay.
So these are ways you know people who can deliver.
Okay.
And at that point, Edo people will be able to know those who will rescue them, not those who will take power just for the purpose of bearing names.
Okay, Emmanuel Obakpolo, Esquire, during the last governorship election in the state, some people were actually of the opinion that Edo is not Lagos. Money actually played out. Are we going to see federal might play out in this election? Will power of incumbency also override other political parties in the state? To an extent, from the body language of the sitting governor, there seems to be an anointed candidate. From some quarters, they are actually of the opinion that the governor is having an anointed candidate. Will the power of incumbency play out? Will the federal might also have its pound of flesh on other political parties in the state? Quickly, Obakpolo.
Again, I want to take our mind back to the just concluded off-cycle elections. We saw how it played out. And to my mind, I will never in any way, form or manner regard that as an election. Rather, it was an appointment from above. Firstly, the question is, my friend, the comrade talked about capacity. I think capacity is secondary. I would rather prefer, or better say, that what type of political culture do we have?
Okay.
Because the voters, the electorates, are left with the choice of voting for whoever the catalog of political parties we have present. And by the time they present candidates and the electorate are in between the devil and the deep blue sea, which would they go for? Is it to go for the devil, to vote the devil, or to vote for the deep blue sea? That again takes us back to the kind of political culture we have. You can never know the character of a man until you go closer to the man. And at times, the man may pretend for long, but the Igbo man says character is like pregnancy, that you can't hide it. Okay. One day, it will come up.
Okay.
So, drawing a line from that, you will discover that the election that took place in Edo State that brought in the incumbent governor was one that the people were allowed to determine who governed them. But just now, even the incumbent governor himself wants to play the role of a godfather, having cried out almost 3 years and ago against godfatherism. So now, the question is, what type of character does he have? We have made to, he has now reflect his true character to the people of Edo State. We've seen it. We heard phrases like Togba, Ogbane. Now, how have the people of Edo State benefited from all of that?
Okay.
That should be the question.
Okay.
I just heard over the news while coming to the studio. Oh, a group called themselves Obasek Finish Well Group or what, something like that. And the governor, in course of commissioning some project yesterday, was talking about we finish well. Who is he the one giving himself the scorecard?
Okay.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, the principle of federal might is not provided for by the law.
Okay.
The law says the people, I did quote, Section 14, subsection 2, a sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria. In Edo State, sovereignty belongs to the people of Edo State.
Okay.
So whether federal might or incumbency, to my mind, it makes no sense.
Okay, Dr.
The people should be allowed to vote who they want to govern them, so that they can legitimately donate their power to who govern them. And again, finally, let me quickly tell you, that is why the APC at the federal is battling for legitimacy, and they will not get legitimacy now.
Okay, let's get to Dr. Billy Osaro. Dr. Billy Osaro, let's quickly discuss the deputy governor's case now as we begin to extend the front line of this discussion. The Deputy Governor, His Excellency, Right Honorable Philip Shuaibu, has been in the front line for a while now. He actually alleged that his allocations were seized, victimizations and all that from the Executive Governor. Do you think we should be experiencing all this at this moment that we are heading towards the polls in 2024?
Again, thank you very much. Like I said before, I've been called out from the whole conversation again from your guest. But again, let me say I'm not of the PDP stock as a disclaimer, but I would say it is not a pleasant experience, especially for our politics. I expect us to be more mature than this because the deputy governor is a deputy governor. Actually, when the governor ran on that ticket, he ran with the deputy governor. And I can't just sit here and tell you at some point the deputy governor has not been useful to the governor and the administration. So I just believe if there are personal issues, those issues actually should be taken care of, behind closed doors, and not getting to this extent where it affects the smooth running of the administration. I'm sure there is division of labor in governance. So the governor has his own functions, while the deputy governor has his own function. So when you start to staff the office of the deputy governor of setting enumerations and compensations, those things are needed for the smooth running of the deputy governor's office. I don't think it all goes well, for our people. After all, this is taxpayers' money. To me, I see this more as an abuse of power, if that is what is happening. It's something we need to discourage. I know in our politics, a lot of people, it really depends on what side they are at this moment. If they are on the governor's side, they try to give you reasons why the governor is right. And if they are on the side of the deputy, they try to actually defend, the inhumane treatment, of the office of the deputy governor at this moment. But again, what we are saying is, at every point in time as Nigerians, we should be very upright. We should be very objective. Tomorrow, you don't know it's going to apply to you. So let's learn how to speak the truth when we have to. Because in this case, I must tell you, it's not the best way, to treat the deputy governor right now after the deputy governor of the state.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Comrade Emmanuel, from relocation of his office from Osadebe Avenue to another place entirely, to his current outcry that he was victimized. Do you think it's good for us as a state?
I'm actually surprised that you are trying to drag me into the political aspect of or let me say the partisan aspect.
It's all part of the discussion
because they are both.
You are a stakeholder,
and they both have rights and all of that. On that basis, I would like to look at this issue between the deputy governor and the governor, because it's amused me many a time. Actually, I think we should look at the beginning and ask ourselves as EDO people what went wrong, because we might not be able to mediate very well. By my training, we have no matter what you see in the public domain, there is freedom of fair hearing. It is sacrosanct that you know exactly what is happening between two persons. These two persons might have not told you or tell EDO people what actually is happening. Now, I will tell you that in EDO State, as one of the 36 states in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Obaseki Philip Shuaibu relationship was an envy in the entire 36 states. At the time, Comrade Philip Shuaibu was adjudged the most powerful, influential deputy governor in Nigeria. And I also think in several occasions, the deputy governor has been given an opportunity of being an acting governor. That suggests to me that the relationship between himself and the boss is top notch.
But the crack, how managed? What happened? We need to wrap up now.
At that point in time, nobody came to Edo people to say, in short, I'm enjoying too much. In short, the way my boss is taking care of me is getting too much. It's as if this man likes me, so he wants to give me government.
Okay.
So I'm surprised that perhaps today what now happened that Edo people is not being called into the stage to say they want to kill me, and what is happening is that my location is. But just to say that in every system there is rules of engagement.
Okay.
Your boss is your boss.
Okay.
To the extent with which you are able to. Loyalty is not what you say; it is what you show.
Okay.
And if we understand our constitutional roles and responsibility, if you ask me, there will not be clash of interest.
Okay.
And if you also ask me, in sincerity, between the governor and the deputy governor, in an administration, if I have a vision, I have a superior idea, I have a policy and program that can bring about good governance, in a system where I currently join a governor as a joint ticket, in a joint ticket,
you need to wrap up now.
I should be able to pass those visions through my boss, and those visions will be executed. So if you have not executed a vision for 8 years, and now you want to become a governor, I sense selfishness in that.
Now, in one word, Emmanuel Obakole Esquire, in one word, he actually alleged that even his wife's private business, the staff in those business areas were actually harassed. That was what he said. Now, do you think he would have sacrificed loyalty on the altar of ambition? Vice versa. Just one answer. Then we wrap up. Just one answer.
Akulano Naki his cassis. The eagle does not catch fly. There is more that meets the eye that these two men have made us to understand. We used to think they were best of couples, but today they are good fighters. Let them keep fighting.
This is your parable anyway. Thank you very much, Honorable Billy Osaru, for actually joining us on the program. And yes, Emmanuel Obakole Esquire, it's always a delight to have you. Emmanuel Obidi, comrade, thank you so much for coming.